This is how you make additive and subtractive texture. First, you're going to roll out a clay ball using a pin and 2 wooden spacer rods. Roll that till it's completely flat, and then take your cardboard template, either a circle or a square or another shape if you want to make something different, and you're going to trace out on your clay twice. I only had enough space to trace it out once, so I had to re-roll it, which you may have to do, like as if you were cutting out cookies. Trace it out with your modeling knife, and then go in for the deeper cut by coming at an angle around your round edges or your square flat edges. After that, take your finger and smooth down the edges so that it's not sharp when it's fired. Each tile you're going to focus on first additive and then subtractive texture techniques. First, we're going to start with additive texture techniques. Now, one of the first additive texture techniques that I'm going to be showing you is to make a clay ball. Simply take a little bit of clay in between your hands and roll it in the palm of your hand until it creates a sphere. Next, you're going to take a separate piece of clay and roll it in between your hands side to side. That way it creates a coil. You can also roll on the table like this to create a coil back and forth to spread out the thickness of it. Then you can also take that coil and roll it after scoring one edge and adding water to create a snail shell shape. This next technique I'm going to call graded clay texture. So basically you're going to take a grate, a metal grate, like a window pane cover, and you smush the clay through to create little strands. And then you're going to take your modeling clay knife and slice it off. This next technique we're going to call sculpting, and so basically you're taking your little plastic modeling knife and your hands and you're going to create something new, kind of like working with Play-Doh. Right now I'm making this coral-like shape by making little divots and then tracing on them. Here's another shell that I made by sculpting. And then you're going to score all of the things you sculpt and wet them with a brush on the back to attach them. Once you have all your little things molded and modeled, you're going to take one of your tiles, and I'm pressing a hole with my straw so that way I can use this as something to hang either on the wall or as a ornament. So now we're on slipping and scoring. And for this, you're going to want to scratch the surface of your clay that you are attaching it to and the item you are attaching onto it in a bunch of different directions. Then take a paintbrush with some water and scratch the surface again and do the exact same thing to the item you are going to attach onto it. Then you're going to lightly press to attach them together. When laying them out, make sure to reference your notes on what textures you've wanted to create for this additive texture tile. You can also take coils and bend them as you're putting them on, making sure to score the other side. Here's a cute little snail that I molded that I'm also going to attach on. Now for your texture tile, you're going to find items in the texture box that's full of lace or random objects. You can bring some from home if you'd like. You can also use any of the tools, or I used a lid from one of the paints as well to roll on there to create some texture with lines. And lightly, gently take a roller. That way you can lift up other textures like lace or the graded thing. You can roll tools and press into them to get indents. I also am taking a different scoring tool and dragging it along for some texture. You can also use a tool to subtract and cut into the clay to create textures. You can also drag and cut. You can use this to create imagery or more abstract lines and patterns. Found random objects can also be really useful. Here I'm using the straw to press in and make little circle indents. And there you have it. 2 texture tiles, 1 subtractive and 1 additive.